So there are federal and state leave laws that likely pertain to your business. Now, there's some thresholds. If you've ever heard of an ALE, that's an applicable large employer. And so many times I hear clients say, well, we don't have 50 employees. 50 full-time employees. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that very well could be it. But to be an applicable large employer, there's a calculation that comes along with it. So you might have 70 part-time employees, and that might make you an applicable large employer because of a calculation that shows you've got full-time equivalents. That's what an FTE, full-time equivalents, means. And so if you get on AI and you ask how to calculate your full-time equivalents, there's data out there, and I would just upload your employee census and say, like, do the calculation for me, and it will create an Excel spreadsheet for you, and you should be tracking this monthly. And without getting too far into the weeds on this, there's a look back period. So when you become an applicable large employer, they're looking at the prior year. And so let's say in 2026, you're going to hit that 50 FTE mark. Then really a lot of the compliance pieces will land in 2027. But when it comes to leave, I usually recommend that an employer is generous with their leave or with their application of the Family Medical Leave Act specifically, and of course, and a few other things, because why not? It's job protection. It's not payment. It doesn't mean that you're going to pay for their time off. So it's just protection for the job. It just, to me, makes it easier. There's laws out there that you can follow, the guidance through the Department of Labor. And so this is where I recommend you get into. So FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act, that's what this means. If you have 50 or more employees, this is a 12-week unpaid job protection. And there's a process that you need to go through when it comes to FMLA. There's a certification process, and then there's a tracking mechanism. And if you don't have an HR payroll software, it's going to be a little bit more complicated, but you can do it in Microsoft Excel. I recommend that you have an HR payroll software, even if you have 3 employees, just because there's a number of things that will automate and do for you. And the time that it will save you is well worth the money. And most of them are more affordable than what you would assume. So that's Family Medical Leave Act. You also are required to participate in jury duty. This is required in every single state. Unpaid is generally fine, but you cannot terminate for it. So if someone is gone due to jury duty, you can't terminate that employee. I don't think any of us would, but just stating. Military leave, I mentioned Sarah. Actually, I'm recording this on Memorial Day. My husband is a Marine Corps veteran, and of course, it's a day of reflection in our home for those who, signed on the dotted line, knowing that they may not come home, and then they didn't come home. But USERRA leave is something that we want to recognize. This is for all employers. This is job protected, regardless of size of employer. Next is voting leave. This varies by state. You want to check your state requirements, but most states require that you allow someone to leave for voting leave or give them some flex time around it. When it comes to parent leave or pregnancy leave, this is usually, I would say, they're FMLA eligible for that. And then there's also the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act that came out in 2023. That applies to employers that have 15 or more employees. So make sure that you're checking into that if you haven't already. Then there's also state mandated sick leave in some states.